Hey guys, I'm kind of a mess today. It's raining outside, so I'm not pacing back and forth on my deck for a change. Paris Mountain X. Um, Last week I talked about what agency was, and today I was just going to go over a couple of different types of agency real quick. I think it's important for people to understand some of this stuff because you are going to be signing paperwork and for lack of a better way to put it, a contract when you enter an agreement with a brokerage. So I think I mentioned single agency last time. That's probably what everybody's used to. That's where I represent you as a buyer or a seller, right? And my job is to represent you. There's a couple other forms of agency. The one that's going to pop up kind of a lot, especially if you get with a busy realtor. They may be selling a house. Let's say they have a listing, and they have that house available for sale, um, and they're working for that client. So John and Susie Buyer, come into the office and say, "Hey, Rob, we want you to, help us find a house." So what I do is I start, looking through the listings that you want to see. I take you to the listings, show you the houses, and you tell me whether you like them or not. Eventually, we get to the one that I'm selling for a client, and you're like, "Wow, this is a great house. I want this house." Okay, well, now we have a problem because I represent the people selling that house. Okay, so now I also represent the people who want to buy that house, and therein lies the problem. You can't It's perfectly legal. It's called dual agency, and some states it's not legal, but in South Carolina it is legal. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not totally comfortable with it. I just don't think you can give fiduciary duties that we owe clients to two different clients when they're competing against each other. I can think of maybe some limited circumstances where I'd be okay with it. If two close friends were in a transaction, or family members or something like that, I both knew and they both knew me and they knew I was going to do the right thing for the both of them, I would be cool with that. But in this case, probably what I would do is go to my broker and say, "Hey, Lee, dual agency just popped up." And she would say, "Okay, if you're not comfortable with it, what we're going to do is you're going to keep your listing. You're going to still represent the sellers," which is, I'm guessing most agents are going to do that. And your buyers, I'm going to assign another agent from the office to the buyers. And now Lee is the dual agent, right? She always has been, but now she's the only one who's a dual agent. I am no longer a dual agent. I just represent the sellers. She assigns another agent from the office. That agent works with the buyers, and that is called designated agency, which is a form of dual agency, but it's a whole lot less tricky. It just means two agents from the same brokerage are working on a deal, and what happens is we're really not going to talk to each other than what we have to, and we're going to give each of our clients the fiduciary responsibilities that they're due. So that's dual agency and designated agency. And then the last one that really comes up is transaction broker, or transaction facilitator, or whatever you want to call it. But basically, it's no agency. So you come in and you say, "Hey, listen, I just need somebody to do the paperwork." And that's fine. So you don't sign an agency agreement. You're not a client, you're a customer. You pay a flat fee. We do the paperwork for you. But we don't owe you any fiduciary responsibilities. Don't ask us our opinions on anything. Don't ask us for advice. We're there to do the paperwork, and that's all that we do. We don't owe you anything. From a confidentiality perspective, if you tell me things and those things can be used against you, I am under no obligation to keep those things confidential. Um, so, there's a place for transaction brokerage. Um, but if you really want somebody who's going to be looking out for you, and making sure that you're not doing something crazy. I mean, we can't tell you what to do, but we can give you advice to say, "Hey, I highly recommend you don't do that," or you at least go talk to a lawyer. There's a lot of problems that can pop up with this. Um, and that's really all the different forms of agency. So there's single agency, dual agency, designated agency, and essentially no agency, which is you're either acting as a customer with us, or we're just doing the paperwork in the form of a transaction broker. So hopefully that helps. I'll talk about fiduciary responsibilities next week.